In order to request time off, I must fill out a sheet directly below the schedule posted in the break nook that all employees can see, and it asks for the reason why I need the time off. I don't need every single person in the company knowing my personal business, so I never filled that spot in, and was reprimanded for it and refused the time off. I was told I had to give a reason. Enter malicious compliance. I started getting very specific about completely false reasons. Random Tuesday dentist appointment? Yep. Gambling addiction counseling. That Friday I can't work, because I'm just sick of this place and I need a mental health day. For sure. Testicular cancer screening. Today I was asked to stop filling in the reason box. Now to the comments. I had a boss who always asked me why I was asking for an afternoon off here and there for dental appointments, doctor appointments, bank appointments, etc. Every single time, I told him I was going to get a pap smear done. It always made him really uncomfortable when I said it, so I just kept saying it. Cue your boss sitting at his kitchen table one day. He looks up from his newspaper and turns to his wife as he hesitantly asks, "Honey, how many pap smears do you get each year?" "Oh, just once a year, sweetheart." A tremor in his hand barely wiggles the newspaper as he looks back down. "Oh. She will leave me," he whispers to himself, and he stares into the distance. She will leave me for a richer man who can provide all the pap smears she wants. Manga Master 03. He knows about the spice. Consulting lawyer about privacy violations in the workplace. OP replied, "Thank you. This is why I started the MC to begin with." Edit, and I'm 100% sure it's exactly why I am no longer allowed to explain why I need time off. Add post-it notes in random locations like the bathroom. We will not be silenced. Rectal exam. Rectal exam 2, electric boogaloo. Rectal exam inception. They've got to go deeper. Rectal exam 4, in the back door. Rectal exam New Horizons. OP replied. Brain scan 1, New Beginnings. Therapy with my mom. Counseling with the voices in my head. Buying a new gun. Job interview. Buying new shower curtains for my hotel. Buying new knife. Thank you, Mr. Bates. You can stop now. I had a similar thing. Our time off requests needed a reason, but they were visible and reviewed by every random manager in the store. I knew my manager was comfortable with me taking mental health days occasionally, but other managers often weren't. I, a man, put down that I had gynecological appointments for every mental health day. I worked in a very small community dominated by a religious presence. The confused and very uncomfortable looks from management were worth it. My manager, who knew what was happening, just laughed and had my back. If I was having a particularly bad day and needed a break, he would tell the other management to cut me some slack, because it was my time of the month and it's hard enough in this town for someone like him. Friend of mine used to work for a public parks office. He loves telling the story about how one day, the overly open female coworker enters the supervisor's office while my friend was in there and says, "I'm leaking a viscous, I want to say greenish fluid from my vagina. Can I go home?" The manager just screams, "Get out." In return, I had to explain to my female manager why I needed to take my break urgently and that I might be long because I need to go across the street for something. I was uncomfortable, so it should have been clear. She asked me to clarify why and I had to say I was bleeding unexpectedly. She got all cringy and says next time just say it's an emergency. Anal abnormality analysis. Anal leakage repair. Metal sex toys removals. Yes, plural. My husband asked off around our birthdays, late October, and for the reason he put pagan worship. He works in a state with a very Christian population. My religion would frequently change if there was a certain day I'd need off. I still must, being Greek Orthodox. The rules for a nearby college required absences be excused for any religious holiday, which got me thinking. I gathered as many lists of religious holidays as I could find and found that a student could hypothetically be excused from an incredible number of classes over the course of the semester. Can a manager explain why the reason for time off is anyone else's ducking business? You just need to make sure there is adequate work coverage and be done with it. If anything, asking for a reason why someone needs time off seems like a great way to get a lawsuit. It's technically not. Just a way for them to decide if you deserve it. I started flipping the script. I'm not asking for time off. I'm telling you when I'll be unavailable. I worked at the local fast food restaurant. Pippi Longstocking's favorite one. For 3 weeks once in high school. I went in and applied because they needed more workers and my friends worked there, so why not? Multiple times during the process I said that I was in marching band and would not be able to work on such and such dates no matter what. I was assured multiple times that they would not schedule me for those dates. When I got hired, I immediately filled out scheduling requests that specifically blacked out those dates, despite being reassured that they would not schedule me for those dates either way. Lo and behold, 3 weeks later the schedule comes out and I'm scheduled for every single day I wasn't supposed to be scheduled for. Why? Oh, we allow requests for time off by seniority, and you're newest, so screw you. I can't work those days and you know why I can't work those days, and you assured me I wouldn't be scheduled those days. You don't show up to work these days and you're fired. So I took a day to talk to all my band friends that worked there and made sure they all had the days off already. Then I gave the manager a letter specifying in detail that I was quitting effective immediately because they scheduled me for times they said they wouldn't. Never looked back, and over the next couple years all my friends quit working there because of shitty things management did to them. If they require it again, severe menstrual cramps with heavy clotting, no matter which gender you identify with. You can't go wrong with either anything menstrual or special needs child related. Euthanasia of long-lost terminally ill bastard child, for religious reasons. I enjoyed this. Early in my kid's schooling, i.e., probably the first few grades, I would have to pull him out of school early for various reasons, and I hated having to write a reason in the little sign-out book at the front desk. I'm his dad. That's the reason he's leaving. Every time I signed him out, I just wrote one word in the reason box. Because. OP replied, "Never mess with Papa." I had a manager who tried to pull this kind of stunt once. We had a policy of allowing people to book a single day off out of their holiday allowance once a year, no questions asked. You could even phone up 5 minutes before your shift was due to start and just say, "I'm taking my duvet day." It was a good policy put in place by some very enlightened bosses. I only used it once, after it had been in place for about 3 years, and I informed via email the afternoon before. The fairly new manager asked why I wanted it and CC'd his boss into the chain. I explained that it was policy that I could do this and I wanted to keep my reason to myself. He responded with a threat that I would get a written warning if I failed to come in without giving reason. So I sent him this. My cat that we've had for 12 years has just been run over. My wife has taken him to the vets but they had to put him to sleep. I need the day off to dig a grave and be there for my children as we grieve. I also CC'd his boss and the HR partner, who I used to play pool with twice a month. and attached a link to the relevant part of the employee handbook. Some people might think it was a bit of an over-response, but he knew it was the policy, because he'd actually taken a duvet day in the first week of him working there. A duvet day. Where I'm from, a duvet's like a comforter/quilt. Exactly. It's a day where you can say duck everything else. I'm wrapping myself in the duvet, and I'm not getting out of it all day, because I feel like it.